Hey everyone, welcome to NimsTut. It's the tutorial show where we teach you how to build something awesome in Minecraft. My name is Nims and I run them there here tutorials, and today we're going to be looking at a fully automatic wheat farm. This thing is awesome. It takes advantage of the new functionality that was added to villagers in the 1.8 snapshots and the future 1.8 patch to plant our seeds for us, and then we use water streams to harvest the crop, give the seeds back to the villager, and then he recycles the entire process for us, giving us a set it and forget it type farm that gives us about 35 wheat per hour. It's very, very cool and very, very awesome. So let's get started on the build. But before we can get started on the build, you'll have to do some location scouting, and there are some restrictions to where this farm can be built. I've got a little mock-up built here. You can see that this house counts as a village off in the distance, and that's causing this villager to not plant the entire farm based on the radius of that village. So this guy is like, I want to provide for the village, and so he only plants seeds within what he considers to be the radius of the village. So if you wanted to build a farm like this, you would either have to move it inside the radius of the village, so that way the entire thing could be planted, or so far away from the village that the farmer can't see the village and then can plant the whole farm without a problem. Cool, now you've got your location picked out, you can start building. In step one, we're going to be building the frame of the farm. So I'm going to be building mine up on stilts. To do that, I'm going to be building 4 blocks up, but you could also hide your redstone underground. Now that you've got your 4 blocks up, we're going to be building a 7x7 platform made of dirt with whatever aesthetic solid block surrounding it in a border. Now that you've got that done, we need to punch out the center block, then the 2 back corner blocks. Then on your front side, we're going to build 2 blocks up on the outside, and then add a glass wall so that way we can creep on our villager as he builds the farm for us, or as he manages the farm for us. Then in each of the 4 corners, we're going to be adding dispensers. Fill in the space between the dispensers and the back wall with solid blocks. Now that you've got that done, it's going to get a little bit tricky. We need to place a solid block immediately above the dispenser, and then glowstone diagonally from the dispenser. This is going to do 2 things. It'll make sure our farm is well lit enough that no monsters spawn inside, that the crop keeps growing, but it also serves a third function, and that is, there's been a glitch in Minecraft that's existed for as long as I can remember, where dispensers update diagonally from solid blocks. So glowstone doesn't count as a solid block, so it doesn't update that dispenser, so that way there's no conflict or glitchiness. So we're going to put another piece of glowstone there in the corner, just like before. This time, since this is still diagonal, we're going to be placing a half slab so it doesn't get updated, just to be a little bit more resource efficient. Same thing on this side, half slab, solid block, glowstone, then glowstone and solid block. You should have something that looks like this, and then we're going to build, or we're going to add redstone dust all along the edges, skipping a block there in the middle, to the entire outside edge of the farm. Lastly, we're going to add our collection chest. Just place any old junk block down, add a chest underneath it, destroy your junk block, then add a funnel of hoppers feeding into the back of that chest until they line up underneath that hole we punched out earlier. I'm able to place those by holding shift. Then back into the hole we punched out, need to place a source block of water. Now in step 2, we're going to be adding the timing that controls the entire farm. This is very easy to do. We're going to start out by coming underneath, whether you have to dig 3 blocks down or just stand up underneath your elevated farm. We're going to come underneath the first row of dirt, underneath the first hopper, well, I guess the second hopper, and place down a solid junk block. Place a hopper feeding into it, destroy your junk block, place a hopper feeding that. That's the basis for our hopper timer. Then we need to place 2 comparators facing outwards into solid blocks, redstone dust next to that. Sticky pistons here, and it's very important they're sticky pistons, with a redstone block in between. That is the hopper timer. Now we're going to add the multiplier. It starts out with a piece of redstone dust into a solid block, into a dropper, facing a hopper, comparators out both sides, into solid blocks, this time with redstone torches on the side of those solid blocks. Then we need some blocks coming off that left redstone torch until it lines up with this hopper. A block on the bottom, 2 pieces of redstone dust feeding into that bottom block, piece of redstone dust off to the side, redstone torch above that bottom block, and then a redstone torch on the back inside of that bottom block. Then we need to cover the entire top side of this with redstone. Then we need to spin around here and we need to add a shut off for this first hopper. This is going to make sure our villager has plenty of time to grab all the seeds he needs in order to perpetuate the farm. Really easy to do. Redstone torch, solid block, redstone torch, solid block. So that way whenever the farm is harvesting, this hopper can't grab any items, giving our villager plenty of time to pick up those seeds. Then we're going to spin back around to the back side of the farm. Add a couple of pieces of redstone there, a few there. Then we're going to build a redstone torch tower all the way up to that gap that we created earlier. Very easy to do. Everybody knows how to make a redstone torch tower. Add the last inverter on the side, then connect those redstone trails we placed earlier. Lastly, we need to set the timers for both the hopper timer and the multiplier. Hopper timer, we're going to be adding 75 items. That's a stack of 64 plus a stack of 11. Doesn't matter which hopper you put it in. That'll give us a total time of exactly 60 seconds. Then in the multiplier, you need to add 60 items into the dropper. So what this does, 60 seconds equals 1 minute. So every 1 minute, we're moving 1 item out of the dropper and into the hopper. So basically, every item in this dropper is worth a minute. So, because there's 60 items in the dropper, the farm runs for a 60-minute cycle. At the end of the 60 minutes, all the water will shoot out, harvest all the wheat, then at the end of I think it's a 30-second break, all the water will be sucked back up, allowing the villager to replant the entire farm. Before we get started with step 3, we first need to understand how villager inventories work, because this farm is very much so based on villager inventories. So I've got a little demo set up for you here. This guy is a fresh villager. He has nothing in his inventory. We're going to prove that he has 8 item slots. So I've got 7 stacks of seeds here that I'm going to give him, and 1 stack of wheat, which is exactly what we'll be giving our villager later. So now that I've given him those 7 stacks of seeds and 1 stack of wheat, I'm going to try to give him 3 seeds and see what happens. So we can see that there are no more seeds left on the ground. And then let's throw 3 seeds at him. Nothing. He's not picking them up. I can run next to him. I've got the 3 seeds. So we need to make sure that this guy's inventory is totally full of exactly 7 seeds and 1 stack of wheat. Before we run the farm. We also have to make sure that it is a farmer villager. So you've got the brown apron, white robe, white apron, and pink robe villagers. Those 4 guys don't work in this farm. It has to be a brown robed villager. And then the reason we give them 1 stack of wheat, I can show you here. This guy was given 8 stacks of seeds. You can see there's broken wheat and broken seeds on the ground. That's because he thinks he's hungry. He has no food in his inventory. You don't have to worry about him eating it. They don't eat. But he has no food in his inventory, so every time wheat fully grows, he's just going to destroy it. But then, because he can't pick it up, it's just going to sit there until it despawns. So we have to give our villagers 7 stacks of 7 stacks of seeds and 1 stack of wheat. So now you need to move that villager into your farm. I really recommend you breeding a fresh farmer villager. That way you know he's been made in 1.8. And you know that his inventory is clean and there's nothing in it. Because if there's anything at all in this guy's inventory, it can break your farm. So now that you've got your fresh 1.8 villager, let's throw him 7 stacks of seeds, like I said before. 7 full stacks of seeds, very important, and 1 full stack of wheat. Awesome. And now that he's picked that all up, you can start to till your land. And immediately after you finish tilling your land, he'll start to plant all of those seeds. At that point, you can add your water into these outside dispensers. And then let's go ahead and go back down and reset the time on this farm because we want to make sure that it's got plenty of time to grow. So you can see 6 minutes have passed. I'm going to take out 5 of those minutes and reset it there. Anytime this hopper or dispenser is empty, the farm will cycle, so you want to make sure you leave in 1 item every time you go to reset it if you ever need to. From this point, we can go ahead and add a roof as we wrap up the video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I do have a quick favor or request to ask of you. If you build this in your world, whether it be a single player, if it's a multiplayer, if it's on a server, I would love to see screenshots of your completed project. If you could tweet them to me at PhilipNims with the hashtag wheatfarm. That would be absolutely fantastic. If you have any questions about the farm, feel free to leave them in the description below, or excuse me, in the comments below, but I would encourage you to check the description first because chances are I've already answered your questions in there. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. This has been NimsTuts, and hopefully it didn't stink. We'll see you next time.